Okay, Tripp is going to introduce our first guest speaker. Tripp
Yes.
Guthrie. Say who you are, Tripp.
Hi, Candice. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Tripp Guthrie, Serra Club of Williamson County. It's my local club. I'm in the great state of Tennessee, district governor of District 18, which is the state of Tennessee. And we're located right in the middle of the state. Williamson County is just south of Nashville. But my first guest, our first speaker is Joane or Joane?
Joanie.
Joanie. There you go, just like it's spelled. Joanie Van Dyke Wilkerson, membership chairperson for the Johnson County Serra Club in Kansas. She joined Serra in 2021. Why she joined? Her dad was a 50-plus year Serran in the Kansas City, Missouri Serra Club. That makes you a true legacy. Joanie became Serra membership chairperson in January of 2022. Lifelong Catholic, attended Catholic schools all her life, so did I. Degree from Caton University in Omaha, Nebraska. There you go. Small school. Married to Brian Wilkerson, who was her high school sweetheart. They have 4 children. Joanie started her own company in 2001, currently owns and operates Nighthawk LLC, a niche for survey work in the street lighting and electrical vehicle charging stations industry. Joanie is not a sit-still kind of person, always on the go. You'll be good at membership then. Inherited that trait from her mother. Active in many organizations, but making Serra Club a priority these last few years. We appreciate that. She's instrumental in Quo Vadis retreats, religious sisters, membership chair, and is works at an annual golf tournament in Kansas City, CORE, which she celebrates our religious enthusiastically, and serving as the food and beverage and hospitality chairperson. This is a very important job at the upcoming Serra International Convention this June 2025. My wife Carol and I will be there, Joanie. She wears many hats, but loves working together with the great Serra leadership team we currently have in place. So without further ado, Joanie Wilkerson.
Well, hello, everyone. This is the first time I've ever done a Zoom call more than 2 people.
And you're at Colorado snow skiing right now and took a break from skiing.
Candice called me a month and a half ago or so and asked if I would consider this. And I said, well, I'm going to be on vacation. And she said, well, you can do it on Zoom. And I thought, she's a good recruiter. She wouldn't let me out of this. So first of all, I really want to say, truly, this is inspiring to me right here, seeing all of your faces. And this is almost overwhelming to me because this is showing me the size that Serra truly is. When the first gentleman came on and said, you know, Minnesota and Tennessee, I'm thinking I was talking to some Kansas people maybe, but this is really inspiring. So I appreciate it. You already know that my dad was my inspiration to join Serra Club, and that is a true statement. He was a 50-plus Serran. My mother, it was an all men's club at that time, but my mother was right there by his side for every minute of it. They did multiple things. I'm the baby of 4, so you can imagine I was drug along to many events. They weren't about to pay for a babysitter, and my siblings were in college by that point. So anyway, I just had such great memories of Serra and the activities that my parents were a part of. And then I also was lucky enough to be at a induction where my father was honored as a 50-plus Serran. And at that time, my 2 brothers joined, which made my dad's heart glow. But I truly didn't even know at that point in my life, I didn't even know women could be Serrans. So because he was an all men's Serra Club. So boy, when I moved to Kansas and married my husband and learned a little bit about Serra further, that there was a Johnson County co-ed, I jumped on board. So that's my story, how I got there. I want to tell you what inspires me currently, and it's truly the leadership and the people that surround me. We are truly blessed in Johnson County that we have a phenomenal president. We have a phenomenal vice president. We have people that are willing to step up and help. Our communications director is the father of one of our current priests, and he's over the top great. We have moved to where we are almost everything online. We rarely do any paper. And I have to tell you that I'm the youngest one in the Serra Club of Johnson County, and I'm 64. So, you know, I know that the group is aging. I get that. But my goal as membership chair is to bring in more people that are 64 and below. So we've started to do that. We have brought on some young people. They're great. They're inspiring. John Caton will talk to a little bit more of that later as well. So I want to share with you, in my opinion, some of the things that we're doing that are really bringing in some new members. And this is not a difficult thing, but I'll tell you what, it's working. I start off by calling one of the parish priests, the pastor, and I asked to have a meeting with them. And I don't give them too much information, just enough to get in the door because they're very busy. And I go in and I have a conversation, and I right off the bat ask him, I'd love to know your relationship with Serra. Did they support you back in the day? And some priests that I've talked to in the past, some are much older, some are mid-age, but where we're having real success, there's the most recent priest, the young priest, because at least in our club, they know who we are because we're very involved with them. We support the Quo Vadis retreat. We have what we term the world's greatest snack table, and they know exactly where that snack table is coming from. They love the Serrans for supporting them. They know that we are sending them birthday cards, Christmas cards. We reach out to our young priests and our older priests, pastor priests that are out in the outlying areas of Kansas, not quite as far as Wichita, not quite as far as Topeka, but in the surrounding suburbs and surrounding urban areas, as well as, you know, the farm towns, so that fall under our jurisdiction. So we are very blessed with reaching out. So back to the priest, they tell me their story, and believe it or not, they almost get giddy and excited about, wow, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. You know, let me tell you what happened back then. Or maybe one might say, oh, I was lucky enough that the Serrans bought my vestment. I couldn't afford my vestment at the time. So the Serrans stepped up and bought that for me. There's multiple stories like that from the young kids. Another thing that recently happened, at least for the Johnson County, is 4 gentlemen went out to a lake house. 4 young went out to a lake house, and they just got to spend 2 or 3 days together at one of the members' lake houses, which was just great. They had the best time.
I haven't joined yet.
They've actually asked if they can repeat that. So there's just great things happening for sure. But now I want to go back real quick to specifically membership. So after that conversation with the pastor, I asked him, would you consider letting us come to an early morning mass and set up a table, have donuts, have water bottles, and have membership applications? And he said, why not? Sure. So we went to,
This is the membership meeting.
so we went to St. Michael's, the Archangel in Kansas City, Missouri. And we,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
so the priest allowed us to come bright and early in the morning, 6:15 a.m. for 6:30 mass. We set up a table, we set up our donuts. We had probably about 25 of our own members, our Johnson County members, at that mass. So when people walked in, they saw us standing there with our badges, with the table. We didn't really ask them much at that time. We just greeted them and welcomed them to mass. They went in, and then we were blessed with an amazing young priest. He's only been a priest 1 year, and he had just arrived in from South America the night before from going to a friend of his that became a sister. So he went in for her final vows down in South America. He flew in late that night. And the next morning at 6:15, he was speaking of his relationship with Serra. And he did the most phenomenal job. He did better than anything I could have ever written for him. He just spoke from the heart and said exactly what his relationship was. And so as people left the church, we didn't even have to bar the door. They came right to us and said, tell us more about Serra. How do you get involved? What can we do? So we probably gained from that membership alone 8 new members that morning. I mean, to me, that's phenomenal to take on 8 new members. And then gradually after that, people that were there and discerning, they also called. And so we have a nice group of people from St. Michael's that we didn't have but 1 member at that time. So I feel really good about that. So that is our pursuit moving forward. And you'll hear a little bit more about this, that I have become heavily involved with the International Convention, which is going to be held in June in Kansas City. We hope all of you will consider coming. We are getting great speakers. I'm the food and beverage chair, so I promise you the food will be excellent. The masses will be beautiful. We have great people. Besides our own Archbishop Naumann, we also have Bishop James Johnston from the Missouri side, but we have speakers, Cardinal Collins and Bishop Tom Daly. So, and that's just a few. We have others as well. But anyway, I hope you'll all consider that at some point. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer about our approach on membership. Part of what I do believe makes good recruiting is being really in touch with one another within your own membership. We are very good about, socializing together. We really do. We offer masses where we join together. I think that's a big part of what makes our success, is that we know our members quite well, and we want to be together. So when we go out, it makes it easier to recruit because we talk about each other. And so we have a lot of plans for the future on that as well. So I'm happy to speak to any questions. I'm a newbie. I'm the first to tell you that. I'm only in this maybe 3 years. So I have a lot to learn, but if you have any questions, I'll try to answer any that I can.
I've got one for you, Joanie. Trip Guthrie here. The size of the Johnson County Kansas Club currently, the membership size, give us kind of an idea how large you all are.
We're at 113.
Okay, big number.
It is a big number. Now, I will be honest and tell you that some of our membership is aging, so they can't make it necessarily 2 meetings. They'll come to a mass or maybe 1 a year. But, and then we just have some people that join that just don't come to meetings.
Sure.
So, I would say on the average, with a membership at 113, we never have more than 50 people.
No, I know, I'm back in.
Yeah, I hear you. Our club is 120.
VP for the US.
And sometimes the big clubs, that's our biggest challenge, is getting more people to participate. So that we're in that mode ourselves locally here. Also, thank you for being the food and beverage chair. This is going to be a lot of fun next summer. I mean, this summer.
This summer.
The Serra International Convention meeting.
Well, looking forward to gathering together.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
Candice, I just want to indicate that I really appreciated the lady that was giving the introduction. She mentioned one of the cardinals here in Toronto, Canada, Cardinal Thomas Collins.
Yes.
And this is one of the Sierra group is in the area here. We have 90 some members with our group here in Toronto with Sierra, and I'm a very new one. God bless you.
What is your name?
My name
What
is
is your-
Lydia McPherson, and I've just been given my membership pin to Sierra. I am 78 years old and never knew about Sierra, got jealous when I met the group there in Precious Blood, Toronto, Scarborough, Ontario, and fell in love with everything you guys are doing throughout North America, throughout different countries in the world. God bless you guys. And I'll stay on and be mute.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or anything?
I just, I'm Paul Bell from the Baltimore Club, and we're very fortunate in that we have two seminaries in our diocese, but one of them is right in Baltimore. And we have, I think, a very successful, the second Thursday of every month, we're invited as a group to attend the 11 o'clock Mass and then have lunch with the seminarians. We have about half of our seminarians in Baltimore and half of them at Mount St. Mary's out in Western Maryland and Emmitsburg. But we have an opportunity to meet our seminarians, meet our prayer partners every month, and give us an opportunity to forge that personal relationship with them. As I say, they're going to be the priests in our parishes. They're going to, all of us are, I won't say that we're old, but we're all on the back nine for sure. And I said, these guys are going to bury us, and we want to get to know them now. So, but that is something that has just proved to be invaluable to get to, at least we know that for 6-7 months out of the year while they're there. I think we have March, and I'm not sure if we're going in April or not because it's feeding into Holy Week, but we've been doing it since September. And that's just proved invaluable to get to know the seminarians that we have, that we pray for. All of us pray for. We all have our prayer partners. We're all assigned prayer partners, so we get to see them in person and exchange cards, exchange set up meetings outside the seminary, and that has just proved invaluable if you can do that. We're fortunate in that the Baltimore diocese is kind of condensed geographically. We don't have to drive 300 miles to our cathedrals and the seminary. So and another thing,
go ahead.
Just one other thing, Reese O'Donnell, who's on here somewhere, her face disappeared. About once a quarter, she and I meet for lunch with Father Stephen Roth, who is our director of vocations, just to find out, what do you need? What can we do to help? And that's just proved invaluable too. And we always know that we have support from him, with, for our efforts, because he knows what we're doing. So
thank you for sharing that. I want to second that. I love that you do that, and you are blessed that they are within your vicinity. Our Johnson County Club, we make a trip every October to we have two different seminaries that our seminarians feed into. One's in Denver, St. John Vianney, and the other's in Kendrick in St. Louis. And we make a trip, and we will take a van, and 20 of us will go, take them out to dinner.
I said we meet in Baltimore, but in October when it's the other seminary is in the mountains, and it's a beautiful ride, and we I guess we had 25 or 30 of us go out to meet up with the group out there and took them out to lunch, and it just worked out well. Every seminarian sponsored every member sponsored a seminarian for lunch, so it was just clean and not costly for any of us or costly to the club. It's our mission. We want to spend money on the seminarians, not on feeding ourselves. And so I'm just kind of cognizant of we're not here to to sponsor lunches and dinners for ourselves, but to just to feed our resources into the needs of the seminarians. So,
And that's beautiful. And that's what Sarah's about. And Joni, I see in the chat, there's a question. It says, I love the idea about daily mass outreach with the table. What other ideas have you tried? And how are some of the ways that clubs engage the young folks and young adults?
I'm going to let John Caton address that second part
Okay.
of the question because he's having quite a bit of success with that. Yeah, as you all know, young families are so busy, and anymore, at least I'm seeing with my own children. I have 3 daughters that are married, and they're 2-income families. And all my daughters work. My, son-in-laws all work. They come home, they've got their children, they're going to sports. They are so busy. And so as a priority, even my own 3 daughters who know how involved I am in this organization, they're like, Mom, I don't even know how you find time to do it. And I'm like, well, I know, but I'm not as busy as you are. But, I get that. But we just got to keep encouraging them and showing them what we do.
Sure. I was going to comment on a personal note, Joni and Candice. I feel like the sweet spot, the ideal age, is when the kids go off to college. And I speak personally because I became a Serran when both my girls were in college. And now 21 years later, I'm one of the founding members of our local club, but I know it worked for me. And I find that 50 to 60-year-old age group is potential. And it would help, of course. And our club is not aging particularly badly in that respect because I think we've had good success. So anyway, my personal feeling on it is when people get old enough that the kids are out of the house, have a little more of that time, talent, and treasure to share. And it
Hey,
seems.
Trip,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you to go ahead and introduce John Caton, his bio.
Yeah. Thank you, timekeeper.
Yes, and thank you, Joni. Thank you. Sure.
Very good, Joanie. John Caton, welcome. John was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and now lives Olathe, Kansas, and is a member of Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Lenexa, Kansas. That's all. I believe that's Johnson County. I'm pretty sure. His wife Claudia and him will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary this coming June 13th. That's exciting. They have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. John has been a Serran for over 40 years. Thank you for that. And has been in the insurance and financial planning business for 51 years. John is past district governor for the Diocese of Kansas City and Kansas for Serra clubs. John has been involved in many nonprofit organizations, including Catholic Foundation of Northeast Kansas, Kansas City Hospice, the YMCA, and other charitable causes. Take it away, John Caton.
Thank you. I might start off because we're still getting feedback from people. If you all could look at your computers and make sure you're muted, that'll help everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a football team here in Kansas City called the Kansas City Chiefs. And we got this little Patrick Mahomes that has been part of that. But I'm going to take you back to 68, 69, 70 era. And there we had a great quarterback by the name of Len Dawson. And about 15 years ago, Len was asked to go to a retirement and nursing home here in Kansas City. And so he's going around, he's visiting with the residents, and he comes up to this 98-year-old woman and he says, "Do you know who I am?" And she says, "No, I don't, young man. You go to the front desk, they can tell you who you are." So there's a little story on the Len Dawson and the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to also let you all know that I had 2 teeth pulled last Friday. One of them, the surgeon, it broke off as they were pulling it out, and so he had to do more digging. So that's why I look like a chipmunk and have side of my face, but everything's good.
You look great.
I'm going to talk about first of all, the KCK Club is an all men's club here in Kansas City. And then Joni's told you about the Johnson County Club. And then we also have in our diocese the Atchison Club and the Topeka Club. And I'm going to speak to the uniqueness of both these clubs. About 3 years ago, I was asked to help recharter the Topeka Club. And so the first thing I did was I called the priest in charge of all of the priests in the Topeka region, which there are 7 parishes. And I went to their quarterly meeting and I just told them that we were wanting to recharter the Topeka Serra Club. And all the pastors were very supportive of it and everything. And so that's how we sort of kicked things off. The first thing I asked the priest, I said, I don't know your parishioners and that, and would you all please give me at least 2 names of daily mass people so that I could start recruiting those people and asking them to be part of this club again. We had our first meeting about 3.5, 4 years ago. It was in a snowstorm, and St. Joseph Parish was our first parish that we went to, and 1 person came to the meeting. We now have about 40 members. Included in that are 3 nuns, as well as we have a pretty heavy Hispanic community in Topeka. And we've had meetings over at the Hispanic parishes, and we have priests that will give their talks and who are bilingual, and they'll give their talks in both Spanish and English. And it's amazing how many people have come out for some of those meetings that we've had. The unique thing about the Topeka Club is that there are anywhere from, I would say at the low end, 15 children to 25 children that come to the meetings. They are anywhere from high schoolers down to 2-month-old babies. And that is has been so wonderful to see because the older kids and even the grade school kids get to hear these nuns and priests and deacons share their vocation story. And it really makes for a beautiful thing to see these children being able to hear them. One of the things that the Atchison Club and the Topeka Club are going to do this year, they're going to have a combination 5th grade essay contest. And about 4 years ago, I went to the Atchison Club. The Atchison Club has around 25 to 30 members. And I went to one of their essay contests that they had where these 5th graders, they wrote an essay as to what it would be like to be a priest or a nun. And it was amazing. And there were probably 70 some people there, parents and all the members and other children that heard these 4 winners get up and give their talk on what it would be like to be a priest or a nun. And the Atchison Club has children also that oftentimes come to their meetings, which is really nice. We really struggled for 1.5 or 2 years with the Topeka Club. We were having potluck dinners and everything. And then we were very fortunate that one of our members, he and his wife, said they would host a wine and cheese party and invite people to come to hear about Serra that had never been. And Father Dan Morris, he came to it, and our Serra chaplain. And that evening, they just talked about the importance of Serra and how it makes such a difference. Well, we ended up getting about $12,000 in donations that night. And that really put the Topeka Club on sound footing. They now, because they have so many families, they now have a meal at every one of their meetings. Some people will bring desserts and other things, but the club pays for their meal. And so that's a real help from that standpoint. They also the uniqueness about the Topeka Club is that, and Atchison both, I think it is amazing how many vocations are coming from homeschooled families. And we have a lot of homeschooled families in Atchison and Topeka. And it is such a beautiful thing to see these families bring their children to the meetings and and let their kids hear what the speakers are saying. But it's a night out for these homeschooled families and everything. And what a beautiful way to instill the thought of their children becoming a priest or a nun. And it really makes for a unique thing. There's no question at times it gets a little challenging when the kids are a little louder than we would like. But as you look out into the room and you see 50 plus people there and you see all these children running around, you can't help but think there are seeds being planted. The Atchison folks, they have their meetings on the campus of Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. And I think the key, especially in rechartering the Topeka Club, you have to get buy-in from your pastors. Your pastors have to believe in Serra and know what an impact it has. And so that would be always my suggestion, to first talk to your pastors and make sure that they see the value of Serra and how we are supporting our seminarians and women that are in vocations and that. So it really makes a big difference to have that pastor there. I want to sort of close with just a plug, if I could, for the national convention here in Kansas City. It's going to be June the 26th, 27th, and the 28th. And it is so wonderful to see all these people in Kansas City that have been working on this for a year and a half. And Joane's been going to all these meetings to get it organized and everything. You are going to be moved by how much fun you will have in Kansas City, as well as today I was asking Jim Burns, one of our former district governors. I said, Jim, I said, how do you see the convention being beneficial to people? And he said, John, it's like going to a mini spiritual retreat. When you hear the speakers that we're going to have at this convention, you will be inspired and you'll feel so good about the time, talent, and treasure that you give to the Serra movement. And it really will help so much for those of you that can come to the convention to go back to your home clubs, and you'll be filled with ideas and inspiration to help your members even better embrace the mission of Serra and help your clubs grow. I wrote down 8 things that are just sort of highlights for coming to Kansas City. In my mind, barbecue is number 1. Number 2, we've got an unbelievable jazz district at 18th and Vine and other jazz clubs. Kansas City has been known for its jazz for 100 plus years. There's a beautiful area called the Country Club Plaza that you'll have the opportunity to have some fine dining as well as great stores to shop at. We're going to have tours of the National World War I Museum and Memorial, which is a very, very moving museum that we have here in Kansas City. Right next, or not too far from the World War I Museum, is Union Station. Again, they have a fabulous dining experiences, Science City, and a planetarium that's there. Kansas City has been known nationwide for the city of fountains. At one time, a long time ago, I heard that Kansas City had more fountains than Paris, France. And so that's another thing that you'll get to enjoy, is all the beautiful fountains that we have. Right down near the Missouri River, we have the River Market as well as art galleries. And we have a phenomenal zoo here in Kansas City. So that's sort of my thoughts on both the convention, Atchison, and Topeka, which are very unique clubs with all the children that come to their meetings and everything. So I'd like to have Joanie, because she's been on the committee and been going to all these meetings in helping to plan for the convention, add any additional thoughts that she might have, Joanie. So go ahead.
Well, I'd like to say that I have this position by default, and it is the saddest situation. There is the most wonderful woman that was another inspiration for me to be a Serran, whose name, I'm going to cry telling you this, whose name was Nancy Gibson. And probably a lot of you know Nancy Gibson. She was a jackrabbit. That girl could do anything, and she inspired so many people. And unfortunately, she and I had been meeting for 2 months. I was her co-chair, and Nancy passed away after a heart procedure just about 3 weeks ago. And I'm telling you, it is a huge loss to the Serran community here in Kansas City, especially. But I'm taking it. I need all your prayers, because I am now working at full speed ahead. Food and beverage will be fabulous. I've been meeting with the people down at the Marriott. The area that the convention actually is in Kansas City is really a vibrant downtown. There's shows to be seen. And I got to tell you, I just got a text message from a fellow Serran on this Zoom call that purchased, hang on, let me read this, 30 tickets to the Royals LA Dodgers game, which happens to be in Kansas City that particular weekend. And so we're going to be able to buy some of these tickets, I think I haven't really read it fully, but if you need a ticket to that game, I'll get that ticket for you. So I hope you'll seriously consider coming to the convention. This is my very first experience. As I've told you, I'm new to Serra. So nothing like jumping in feet first, but I hope you'll all really consider coming to Kansas City. We are not a flyover state. There's a lot to be seen in Kansas City. And the Southwest Chief comes from Chicago, and I'm sure it comes from further on than Chicago. I just happen to be taking it next week up to Chicago. So I hope you'll really consider coming.
You know, Joanie, I would like to also mention that one of the leaders on the convention, I am the past district governor, but the current district governor for our diocese is Pat McEnany. He's been a member for a long time in the Kansas City, Kansas Serra Club. And it's amazing what these clubs are doing. I think 3 of the 4 clubs have said that they will, if someone wants to have some help in going to the convention, they will pay half of the cost of registration. So you all might think about that with your clubs. Think about paying part or half of the registration fee. It's about $450, and that would help your clubs benefit from having someone come, because you will really, your club will benefit and will grow tremendously by having your members there, for them to take back the inspiration that they get from these moving talks. And the spiritual side of a national convention is just so beautiful. So I encourage some of you to go back to your boards and try and make that decision to help those people that maybe are on the fence and coming.
Candice, this is Sally O'Neill,
Yes.
and I'm a district governor. And if there's any other district governors online, this is kind of a message for you as well. But there are 6 clubs in the Central District, of which I'm district governor, and I'm offering a scholarship to those that are sending attendees to the convention. I'm offering a scholarship to help offset and it's about the amount that, John, that you mentioned, to help offset the cost. So it will encourage attendance at the convention of the different clubs in the Central District. We really feel it's important that we get as many people there as possible. We're talking it up in our clubs and really trying to promote it.
Very nice.
Trip Guthrie here. I was going to mention too, we always bring a large contingent from Tennessee to the international conventions, or we try to. But something we do almost every time, and we've already signed up this year for Kansas City, we're bringing our chaplain with us. So we'll have at least one priest, and we might possibly have two priests coming. And we pick it up. We pick up the cost of that. But it's a wonderful experience for the chaplains. So I suggest all clubs talk about that and see if you can make it work, because it's a win-win having them
I
there.
agree.
It's Father Zach is who'll be coming with us. And anyway, I'm
And
in.
he's come for many years with y'all, right?
Yes, at least five. At least five.
Yes.
He's gone to an international convention out of the country one time. So,
Mhm.
what was the other thought? Oh, put me down for 2 baseball tickets right now. I'd love
And
to go
put
to
Ed,
that Memorial State.
yes, and Joni put Ed and I down too, Ed and Candice Tyrrell. Yes.
Yes, and Trip and Carol Guthrie. I used to live in Kansas City. I can't wait to come back.
Thank you. And thank you, Sally, for the scholarship.
And I have one more thing. Our club is paying for our chaplain to come, and this will be his first international Serra convention ever. So he's excited about it, and we're bringing him, and so we're just looking forward to a great time there in Kansas City.
I agree with what John Caton said about pastors or priests being involved. I mean, I think they help to bring more Sarans in when you have them involved. And there's a chat here that says, I'm a volunteer at the World War I Museum, and I second Janelle's comment. The World War I Museum is the #1 tourist attraction in Kansas City.
We're signed up for it. The Tennessee group is coming.
Great.
It's incomprehensible how much stuff they have in that museum. It is incredible if you've never been. My husband and I just went for the first time last year, and it was so moving and good. I highly recommend it to anyone.
Thank you,
Janelle, thank you
Janelle.
for saying that. I will say, I'll speak to that. There is limited tickets for that particular tour. So if you really are interested, you can go to the Serra International website. You can get onto the international convention, and you can sign up for that particular, tour. And from what I understand, the 2 people that are the tour guides are the best in town. So I hope that you'll all join in for that.
Right.
That's also the one that they're gonna have the Father Emil Caton talk, right? Is that the
Yes.
same one?
Yes.
So, and will
Oh.
he? Are they? What are they doing for that? Can you speak to that a little bit?
I will be happy to get more facts on that, and I can place it where you can see it on the Serra International website within the next week. I am not really involved in that because I got so much else on my plate that I can't speak to that very well. And I don't want to give you any misfacts, that I want you to be sure that you get everything you deserve to have for it. So I'm sure I will speak with the director here in Kansas City. His name is Jerry Hake, and he is our leader. And I will be sure that that gets on the Serra International so that you're very well informed as to what it will all be.
Joni, can you say who the guest speakers are at the convention? Any of the speakers?
Well, I mentioned a few of them: Archbishop Naumann, Bishop Johnston from the Missouri side, Cardinal Collins, Bishop Tom Daly, and hang on. This is our flyer that this should be coming out to most of your, can you see that okay, the way I'm holding it?
Yes.
Yes, we did
Okay.
receive that. Yes.
Yes, that should be at most of your clubs. And if you want to request one, I'm happy to send you several, whatever you need. But Sister Nancy Rose is a Benedictine sister of perpetual adoration. She will be one of our speakers. Stephen Menace is the president of Benedictine College. And I got to tell you, this is an amazing movement going on at Benedictine College. We are getting more sisters coming out of that university than I've seen in a very long time. So he will probably be speaking to that and what's happening up there to make this such a wonderful, why it's all happening. Then also Abbott Gregory Pollen is one. So I've got this. I can certainly share it on the website, or just go to Serra International and then click on the International Convention, and it's all right there. John, there's a
Yes.
question is, how did you get the names of parishioners who homeschool? I think it would be great to reach out to them. Was there a way that?
Really driven by, and Jill was on earlier. He's the president of the Topeka Club, but it just happened that those communities in both Topeka and have a large community of homeschooled families. And so they are really a tight knit group, and they help each other in schooling their children. And they've just gravitated towards the Serra clubs because of their love for their Catholic faith, and in hopes that maybe some of their children will have a vocation.
Okay, and then it says, someone asked how to get homeschoolers involved. We do bus trips. This is Judy Colladora. We do bus trips for boys to our local seminary and girls to a woman's religious. A homeschool group heard that we do this and reached out to us.
Word
Great.
travel. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Joni or John?
We talked about this is Trip Guthrie again. The priests being so involved is probably the number one help, parishional, but also the bishop, of course, of your diocese. We're very blessed. And I see John Maxwell's on here with us, but we have a very unique situation in Nashville, and the support of the bishop and the priests and the vocations director is huge. It's probably our greatest gift. So
I agree. I agree. So any other questions? I know we have 7:54, just a few more minutes. I have a trivia question, though, that our priest said today at Mass. What does Lent mean? Does anyone know where Lent came from? What the word Lent means? Lent comes from the Old English word Lencten, Lencten, which means spring. So it's not gloom and doom. Lent is supposed to be spring, like time, you're supposed to be joyful. So I just thought that was so beautiful today. I just wanted to pass that on. So Lent, the word Lent means spring. And mark your calendars because our next U.S. membership meeting is July 14th. So put that on your calendar, everyone. I hope to see everyone back on Zoom on July 14th, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Talking about Lent, I believe that everybody in North America has probably got YouTube and TV, and I'll tell you, you want to learn about Lent, it is on there. It talks about everything in the Bible. Just go in and just take a look at Lent and just Google it on there. All I can tell you is that it makes the Bible come alive, especially at this time. It's an amazing video of what our faith was all about. And it's a good thing just to do one day at a time to see the movies that are on there. They are so vivid that it will increase all our faiths. And I say that sincerely for someone that's been a Catholic all my life, but never feeling exactly the way Scripture should be felt. Also, if you have a chance to say a prayer for people, the Divine Office is a thing on the computer, and it allows you to pray personal prayers for whatever you need. That's my input for tonight, and I appreciate everybody. I am a bulletin board, and I will be taking your suggestions to my group in the Serra American Scarborough Serra group. And I thank you for hearing me out.
And Lydia, what is that link again that you said to go to?
first of all, really take a look at the Bible and everything in the Bible. YouTube
okay.
has a video on that. A full
Okay.
movie, an hour and a half. But
Okay,
the
thank
one
you.
that's one is, you've heard of Divine Mercy in the States? Divine Office is similar to that, but it is a prayer of Psalms 5 times a day with the liturgy of the word, the Psalms, and I pray 5 times a day. And it doesn't take long, and I never thought I could last by 5 minutes when I started it. But I guarantee you, it will change your life. But on there, if you want to pray for anything in any cause or anybody, it allows you to go in and say a prayer and get the world community to pray with you for the people you love. Joanie, that's why I sent that message to you.
Okay, Lydia, thank you so much. And thank you, Joanie, and thank you, John. Y'all were wonderful. Let's give them a hand. They were so good. Thank you very much. And thanks for taking your time away from skiing to come in early today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for being on tonight. Thank you
Great
so
turnout.
much. I think we had a record turnout. So thank you and God bless you and have a blessed Lent. Thank you.
Thank you, Kansas City.
Yes, thank you, Kansas City. Thank you.
Candice.
And I hope that you all will come to the Serra International Convention. It's going to be wonderful. And thank you, Juanita. Thank you. And thank you, Trip. Thank you very much.